Makeup school is in session. Today we're going to be sharing my everyday makeup tutorial. I have done countless videos doing my makeup, but this is going to be a very in-depth video because we're going to be talking about brushes, techniques, products, skin prep. This is going to be everyday makeup, nothing too crazy, but I think it's going to be easy enough so you guys can follow it. I love skin prep. I think it's very important before you do your makeup, so I'm going to show you some of my favorite products to prep my skin. I love the Ilia Face Milk, the Charlotte Tilbury Serum and Magic Cream. My last step is always sunscreen because I don't want to look old when I'm 30, so I love my trusty Elta MD. I'm going to get started with Charlotte Tilbury's Magic Cream. I think a lot of people don't prep their skin, and that obviously leads to like flaky makeup, and that's not what we want. When I was younger, I used to love the idea of primer, but I think as I've gotten older, I've realized that the best primer is always going to be skincare. Very important to let your products dry in between steps. Once that is done, I'm going to use some of the Charlotte Tilbury Serum. This is very lightweight, it has a very clean scent, and just helps with the glowy makeup look. I like wearing glowy on a day-to-day. Whenever I'm going out on the weekend, I'll do a little more of a matte makeup, but on my day-to-day, I do like a glowy complexion. Giving little face taps for depuffing. And that is my skin fully prepped. Once it looks glowy and plump, that's how we know that we're ready to start with foundation, skin tint, whatever you like to use. I'm going to show you my favorite concoction, but you are free to use whatever face base you are comfortable with. My PCOS has taken me on a lot of journeys, but one of the ones that it has taken me on recently is a little mild acne that I have around my face. So it's very important for me to pick products that my skin reacts well with. Is the Merit Stick, and my all-time favorite, you guys have heard me talk about this a million times, it's our 28 concealer. So I'll go with the Merit, and I'll just kind of tap any acne that I might have around my face. It is a thick consistency, but at the same time it's light. I don't know how to explain it. It's just the perfect consistency. And I'll put that through any acne patches that I might have. And then I also put it around my nose because I get a lot of discoloration there. And a little under my chin. Once it's fully on my face, I kind of let it dry for a minute or so. Once that's done drying, I'm going to go ahead and use the Tower 28 concealer. I like putting towards the bottom of my face just so that it helps with the shade match with my neck. Put some on my chin, forehead. Won't put it under my eyes just yet. This is kind of like spot concealing, but also giving myself a nice light base layer. Let's talk brushes now, because you guys ask me this like no other. Lately, I've really been focused on buying high quality brushes because they really do make a difference. My favorite brush to blend all of this out is going to be the Hourglass foundation brush. I really like this brush. I use it for my foundation, even my contour sometimes. It's just that great. Don't swipe all over your face. You're gonna kind of start tapping lightly all over. This brush is so nice, and it's a little dense, so it helps with the coverage and just making sure that it's blending everything in. I don't really use a sponge anymore. When I was younger, I used to love a sponge, but I think ever since I switched to high quality brushes, I don't really need it anymore. As you can see right away, it starts covering everything up, and it just looks like a second layer, which I love. I hate my makeup feeling cakey. This is why I don't really use foundation anymore. I like more cream or lighter products. Here's the other side. And that is my complexion fully done. I just love how these products sit. Next step for me would be contour. I love the Hourglass foundation. This is the shade Sable. Because this is a really pigmented product and we don't want it to look like an orange splash across our cheek, what I like doing is putting it in the back of my hands. Make sure you wipe this before you leave the house, okay? With that same Hourglass brush, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of the product, and what I'm just gonna do is basically start putting it on my cheeks, but not low, always aiming to go high. I can bring it just a little bit in the under eye. We don't want it to look like a bronze cheek and then the hairline is super white. So we kind of have to blend it in. Doing the same thing on the other side. Brush also has a little bit of that face base. It's also going to help blend everything together more seamlessly. I also like taking some of the product and putting it on the back of my eyelid. And let's not forget the forehead. Just a tad on the chin. Now that we are really bronzed, don't worry if it looks a little scary because now we're gonna highlight and blush. For blush today, I'm gonna be using some of the Rode blushes. These are my favorite for an everyday look because they're very lightweight. My shades of choice are gonna be Piggy and Sleepy Girl. I'm gonna take Sleepy Girl, which is the more mauve shade, and put it towards the top of my cheek. Because it's a darker color, I like putting it towards the back. I'm gonna take Piggy, put it towards the front of the cheek. Now we're gonna be using this Mario. I think this is the F1 brush, if I'm not mistaken. This is a dual side brush. So sometimes I'll use this one for my nose contour, but I really like this side for blending out my blush. The same technique for blending. We're gonna blend everything up, and you can put a little bit on the under eye. Remember that we still haven't concealed. It's a pretty seamless blush. And I love how this formula just blends together with the Hourglass contour stick. It's just such a nice combination. I've done the contour and the blush. It's time to conceal. I'm gonna use the Tower 28, of course. I used to conceal when I was younger, like under my actual eye, but with time I've realized that this is where I like to conceal because it makes it look just more seamless. I'm gonna add a little bit on the nose, a little bit on the forehead, and a little more on the chin down here. I'm gonna get some of that bronzer from my hand. For this, I just like following my nose. I do round it off at the tip. Once you let that concealer sit for about a minute, it's very important to let it sit so it just kind of gets a little thicker and easier to blend. We're gonna go ahead and blend it out and set right away. On my under eye, I love using the Rare Beauty concealer brush. Before I start blending out my concealer, I already have my powder puff ready with the powder to set. I'm gonna be using the Huda Beauty Peach Pie. I like this one because it has a little bit of an orange hue to it, and it just kind of works as a brightener and color corrector, so I'm a big fan of it. Just get one of these powder puffs, dip into the powder, tap it off in the back of your hand, have that ready. I'm gonna start blending out the concealer. Don't rub side to side, just kind of tap it. This brush is gonna do the work for you. Once that is fully blended out, you're gonna go ahead and look up. Just like that, slowly but surely start setting your under eye. Look at that blur. Very important to do one eye at a time, one section at a time. You don't want to blend everything out and then start setting. You want to do one section at a time. That's going to guarantee you the best outcome. Go ahead and do the other eye and start setting. And now we're going to do all the other areas. Forehead. My nose, I do like to bake it just for a little bit of time. So I'm going to put a little line down the nose. After I'm done setting everything, I love going into my under eye with this dual-sided Refi brush and just kind of pressing all the powder in. Once everything is set, before I move on to the next step, I'm going to do a layer of setting spray. I love the Rare Beauty one because it's extremely light. Once the face is drenched, we're going to take the same powder puff that we were using for our under eye, and we're kind of just lightly press all over the face. What I like doing now is my brows. I don't do them before because I don't want any of the powders, foundations to get on them. It's really hard to take off once you put the wax on, so I wait till after. I love the Sephora Fluff and Fix Brow Wax. This is great for stubborn brows. And I already have kind of a really nice shape, so I don't need to do a lot. I just kind of brush them to the side. And those are my brows brushed up. I like going over my cream steps with a little bit of powder. This is the Hourglass Holiday Dragon Palette. I love this. It has a really nice, beautiful shades. With that same Refi dual side brush, I'm going to go into the bronzer shade at the bottom. Just kind of lightly brush it throughout my face. Formula as well, so it's not going to create a very dark, streaky line. I also like going a little over my jawline, my chin. A really pretty, glowy cheek pink baby doll look. I'm going to be using the Rare Beauty. This is kind of like a highlighter blush in the shade Happy. Really pretty. For that, I'm going to be using the Say Blush brush. Into it, dust it off, and put it towards the top of the cheek. The other side. One of my all-time favorite mascaras, the Rare Beauty mascara. This is pretty easy for me. I have a lash lift, so I don't really curl them anymore. When I was younger, I used to love doing lower lash mascara, but I think lately I've just been in a no lower lash mascara era. I like it so much more. I feel like my features look softer, so I haven't been doing recently. I love taking Whirl by MAC. As you guys can see, I kind of cancel out my Cupid's bow. Taking the Morphe lip liner in Love Bite and just making the edges a little darker. Once the lip liner is done, I'm going to be taking the Lawless lip gloss in the shade Glazed. I love this color. Look how pretty it is. And that is my everyday, easy, go-to glam. Not too complicated, still gorgeous, so glowy, so healthy looking. I'm gonna go ahead and link all the products in the video, all the prices, so you also know how much this full face was. Thank you for watching the video. I will see you in the next one, and thank you for being here. I'm so happy you are.